time to meet the maker. Today I'm talking to Evelyne Sydric from Bridal De Vine, but let's jump straight in. Evelyne, tell me all about your business. Why did you start it? What was your inspiration? How long have you been going? What's the story behind it?
Oh, wow. Yeah, quite some years ago, I married my husband, my second husband, in 2009. At the time, I'd always crafted, I've made my own dresses, all sorts of other things. But anyway, at the time, I was looking at hair pieces and being a second-time wedding. I didn't want anything too extravagant. I just wanted something simple in my hair and came across hair vines and was kind of like, oh, these are interesting. So I just popped down to our local craft shop and I picked up crystals, wires, pearls, all sorts, and literally just played with them. At the time, the job that I had, I used to go away quite a lot. So sitting in the hotel rooms at night, I used to just start creating these little pieces and came up with a piece that I wore for my wedding. That box, I had purchased so much stuff that I then kind of thought, oh, I really enjoyed this, made up a few more and just stuck them onto a platform and they started selling. And as I was selling, I kept buying more and it became a little bit of all the money that went straight back into it. But then I realized within a short time, something was evolving purely through something I just enjoyed doing. So it was all fluke. Anyway.
Had you ever made anything before then?
Not like that, no. No, it was literally just playing around with them. And that's still how I work. I like to just take a few elements, put them together, kind of got an idea. And as you put them together, no, you don't like it this way, and then try it another way. And that's how I tended to work. And even when somebody comes for a bespoke piece, I quite often work like that as well. So yeah, cut to the chase, a year and a half later, I sort of went part-time and then quit my job completely. And from then it was just 100% trying to put myself into this and giving it a go. And I have to say, it was a really good decision to make. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Right, I'm curious, what was your job before?
Oh, crikey. Right. I worked for Mitchells and Buckler and I managed, I trained, I waitressed, I just did everything. So hence going away, we used to do a lot of openings as well.
So you must quite like now the fact that you're not traveling, or was that quite a shock to the system to suddenly be working from home?
That's a difficult one. I really enjoyed what I was doing. So it kind of didn't come into it. The one thing I did miss is the people. Yeah. That was the one thing that was really hard. But I have to say now, you know, I've got a group that is really amazing and we can talk and catch up and have little moans in, which is kind of, you know, you need somewhere that is a safe place when you're working online, because obviously it is quite a different environment. So yeah, it can be quite, especially now in lockdown, obviously this is totally different.
Yeah, because we're talking right now, early 2021, and it's just, everything's in chaos. So what was that first platform that you went on?
It was eBay.
Oh, wow. So why did you pick eBay as your first one?
I don't know, just because it was one that everybody knew. Yeah. But then I went on to Etsy and I've dropped eBay and it's definitely taken off and it was the best move that I made. The market's slightly different. People want handmade. There is a flooding of things coming from the Far East very, very cheaply, and it's being on a lot of platforms. I'm seeing it, and yeah, a lot of people are buying what they think is handmade. It might have been, but it's coming in from the factories where they've all sat there and made them, and they've kind of, yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, if you're on a budget, I'm not arguing against it. If you're on a tight budget, then it's great if that's what you want. But if you want something a little bit more and you want me to personalize it, then fine.
I think it's fine to buy something that's come in from anywhere and it's been mass produced if you know that's what you're buying. The problem comes if you think you're buying something handmade, then it's not right, is it? But
yeah, okay, so it's a little bit ambiguous, this one, because I have seen on various platforms where people are selling the so-called handmade products, and I know for a fact they've come from China.
Yeah, It's not good. It's not good for customers.
No.
At least when they buy from you, they know they really are getting something that's handmade.
Yeah, I mean, all the elements, but from whatever country they come from, they come in, and then I'll sit and I'll put something together here, and that's how I work. So yeah.
Can you remember your very first sale?
No, I can't actually. It was definitely a hairline, because I didn't get into jewellery right at the very beginning. It only evolved. The jewellery evolved when I quit my job.
Right, okay.
Because obviously brides then they want to buy from you, they want to come more, so they buy one thing and then they come back. And you know, my return rate was, I can't remember the percentage, but it was pretty good, and I still get return customers now. So yeah.
Do you do more hair vines or you do more jewellery now?
Oh, it's a little bit of both at the moment. I mean, hair vines, hairpins. Yeah, I do headpieces, combs, what have you. Sitting on my desk is orders to go out. I've got earrings, and the rest are hairpins and hair vines. So yeah, at the moment, yeah, and then next week it'll be more jewellery. I mean, weddings at the moment, obviously not many are going out. It's bits and pieces, because of people thinking, are they getting married next month, which is probably unlikely at the moment in lockdown.
It's a very, very difficult time. So how have you coped with COVID and lockdown and everything that's been going on since March last year?
Well, for me, it's kind of, I had to go in and have an operation. So for me, it was kind of come at the right time, because I've been able to recover and just have my own time without the pressure of working. So as people started ordering, yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine the stress that some of those brides must be under. All those months of planning, and then bang, it's you can't explain it. They must be so tough.
What I love from the answer that you've just given, though, is that you're coming at it from the perspective of thinking about the brides. You're thinking, oh my, them and their wedding, and how are they coping? You're not going, oh, that's it. From your perspective, it's got to have been tough for you as a business owner as well.
Yeah, it has been tough. I'm fortunate. I've got a husband who is fortunately got in a job as well, so he's been 100% supportive, and we did get paid as well from the government, so I was able to take advantage of that. So that has kind of just kept us going. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of other people have really struggled, and I think that's where it gets really tough, and that's what
And that's when the group that you mentioned becomes into its own. It's having that community, isn't it, around you as well, having a support system. You've got your husband, you've got a group, you've got, there's multiple things going on.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've mentioned that you started on eBay and you moved to Etsy. Is there anywhere else that people can find you that you sell now?
Yeah, I've got my website as well, which is bridaldevine.co.uk. So they can come directly there as well.
Fantastic. So is it just the two platforms you sell from at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you balance that? Do you have one that's your priority? Do you one that you push or promote the most, or how does that work for you?
I kind of push out both, really, because some people just prefer to be on a platform. Others find the platform, then come directly to me. Others will stay on the platform. So do you know what? You know, it's a lot of stuff going on out there, and a lot of insecurity about where to buy, how to buy. So I kind of just, one day I'll be thinking, oh, well, I'll push Etsy a little bit more, or I'll push, you know, there's a lot of scamming going on out there. I mean, even, you know, with lots of stuff. So I don't want people to be forced to go to somewhere if they don't want to, and they feel more secure there, then that's it.
And that's what Etsy offers, isn't it? Etsy has a higher trust value in many ways, because it's you've had your business for a long time, but Etsy is a big known name. They advertise, they've got a massive customer base right now, so the customers can feel almost somehow a little bit safer, though.
Yeah, and then you get others that have done a lot of research and they know you already. So because they see you, they come to you via, I mean, I've had somebody on the platform saying, oh, no, I want to come direct to you, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, thank you. Obviously, that's less commission there.
Yeah.
So, but it is what it is. You have to take that into account.
Yeah. That's cool. Cool. Have you ever had any bridezillas? Any real nightmare brides?
No. No, because I always kind of reverse it a little bit and try and understand where they're coming from. If we've got to change it, we've got to change it. And I always kind of leave it open that they can change their minds, because it's their day, it's not my day.
Yeah.
I'm just a little part of it. So I try to leave it that way. So no, I don't think, one or two might just take, a lot more. But at the end of the day, you get there. And I wouldn't say anything at the end. Actually, no, there was one. Sorry, no, I just remembered. This was a long time ago. And I made this enormous piece. I had the rulers there with everything that it was, showing her how it was going to look and the sizing. And she then took a long time to get this done. And she then got it. And it wasn't just it was actually quite a number of weeks. And then she decided, after I can't remember how long, she suddenly came back to me and said, actually, I've changed my mind. Can I return it? And I went, no, not at this stage, because it was a bespoke order and we'd gone through everything and it's in my terms and conditions.
Yeah.
And I heard nothing else. And I had spent a lot more time. And she actually, for what she paid for it, she was probably well underpriced on that, but that was a long time ago. So you learn from it.
You do. I'm really pleased that you had your terms and conditions in place to fall back on, because that's absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
So most makers go into business because they want to spend time crafting and making, but there's so many other jobs to do, including marketing. So come on, tell me, marketing, do you love it or hate it?
You've got to be seen. There's no question. That's what marketing is about.
Yeah.
And you have to keep pushing it up. I know, obviously, this last few months with COVID, I've kind of just kept a little bit in the wayside, because my customers, my clients or brides or whatever you like to call them, they've got a lot on their minds, and I don't feel like I want to bombard them too much. I am planning at quite soon, as we start coming out of this, I will start making myself more visible and pushing on groups, which is what I used to do all the time. Yeah. And then obviously advertising in other places. So be it on Facebook, be it on, Etsy does advertise anyway, and I do push that is already there, that I always make myself more visible there.
Okay, so for you, it's just like getting out and being visible when the time's right for you. So
I think so. There's no point bombarding, and where I think some people that are trying to push a little bit too much, it's not getting any interaction at all. It's just not worth it, really. I'm going to hang on a little bit.
So what does, outside of COVID times, what does marketing normally look like for you? I mean, I do know a little bit. I know that there's photo shoots that you've done in the past and things like that. How important is that to you, that it's using the professional images? Or
professional images are very important, but I have to say, having real brides is really lovely to get those. They are few and far between at the moment. I just had another one the other day that's promised me photographs, and I'm literally begging and saying, yes, please, can I have some? So yeah, this year has been quite tough getting any pictures, but normally I get a steady flow as the season progresses. I get new photographs. But if you get a rapport and you've got a lot of interaction with messaging backwards and forwards, that's when I'm a little bit cheeky and say, please, may I have photographs at the end? And usually it's a yes, and generally I get photographs back from them.
You must actually build up quite a relationship with your brides, because it isn't just order this, post it, and they get it out in the post. You are going through that whole design process with them. So how does that process look?
Yeah, it'll be a question coming, they've got an idea, and we kind of just work with that and sort of bounce things backwards and forwards. And usually what I do is I try and put little bits together to sort of say, well, how about that, this or like that? And yeah, it might be trying to source something, or adding in colors, or making something, brides usually have got a vision of something by the time they've got their dress. They're a little bit panicky as well, because they do leave things later, which for me is fine. I don't have this sort of because I work at it full time, my orders are literally, I'm just turning around, getting what I need, the wires, the tools, putting it together, and most of the orders go out pretty quickly. So it's not an issue. And then the ones that are sort of in the bespoke area kind of then go usually about 3 or 4 weeks. So that's how they go, and we've sort of worked that way. And in between working through the other orders. So yeah, it works really well.
You're very efficient in the way that you work. I know that you've got everything set up. It's very important to you that you work that way, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a reason for that, obviously, is I am trying to make the things that I make them affordable. So yeah, there is high-end stuff and it can cost a lot more, but if you can cut down your working time to produce something in less time, well, of course it's not taking as much of my time, and I can sell it at a more reasonable price. And I think that's important as well.
Yeah, you have a very, I know that we've had this conversation in the past.
Yeah,
you have such an efficient way of working that something that might take somebody twice the amount of time, and actually that's partly because it's pulling all the pieces together and getting all the supplies together, whereas you've got everything on hand, haven't you? You can just go and grab
literally
everything.
behind me, every box, and I've got my tools here at the side, I've got my wires here on the drawer, I've got my packing materials here on one side, boxes above me, everything is literally around me, and I can just grab what I need. And I've got the printer here on the side, and like, that's it, bish bash, and it's done. So yeah, it works really well.
What I especially love from what we've talked about so far is how, though, the bride is at the center of everything that you do. And I think because you started your business, because you made for yourself as the bride, you somehow have pulled that. It's like it's the heart of your business, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I never even planned it. It was never my intention to do that. So yeah, okay. And I'm really happy. And you know, I look back now, and it's like the best thing that ever happened. I'm so glad that I've done it.
I love that.
I like my freedom. I like my you're your own boss. But it's different. It's totally different.
It is different.
I'm enjoying it.
So what do you love the most about running your own business? Is it that freedom?
I think being a small part of somebody's big day is lovely. I'm quite an emotional person and I cry quite often. So I think little things like that just touch me so much. It's like, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It is a privilege.
It is. I mean, you know that my job is supporting makers and crafters in business, and I have the same thing when I see the results and how people are doing in their business. So I understand what you mean, but say from a different perspective. So my next question is, what's the biggest challenges you faced as a business owner? I'm kind of suspecting it's probably going to be the circumstances right now of COVID, or is there something else?
It could be. But the biggest challenge are the hours and hours and hours that you put in. I think I've got it a little bit more controlled. But when you first start, the first few years, I'm still sitting up here working at 7 o'clock at night, and you've got your husband, bless him, he usually cooks dinner most of the time, and it's like, it's time to come down. And you're still working because you just need to get those orders out. And it's also developing the business, and you know, it's taken a few years to get to that level where you're not working insane hours. But I have to say, at the beginning, they were definitely very insane. And that's the one thing I think a lot of people don't understand when they're first starting a business. It's not a 2-hour job today, maybe another hour tomorrow. It's literally, I was working 7 days a week, and I just kept trying new things, making new things, doing an order as it was coming in, then something else, not knowing much about marketing. It was all very early, and then bit by bit as you come together. I had been in marketing for some years with a hotel group, but that was a long time ago. So, you know, all of those things that you knew kind of changed as well, because, you know, we're digital now. This is a new thing. And so many businesses have evolved through this, and would never have done this if it wasn't for being online.
It's easier than ever to start a business right now in so many ways. I'm not saying it's easy to start a successful business, but it's easier than ever to start a business.
That initial
commitment that you need to give it, that you have to be out being visible, you have to be out making, you have to be, and to start with, you're not making that money either. You have to have a trust, don't you, and a belief that you're going to manage to do this, and you have to come through all of that. But I love that you have, and you have to the point where you've built a very strong business, a business that you, I hope, are proud of, because you deserve to be proud of it. It's an amazing business that you've got.
It's ongoing. I don't think any business, there's so many things that I would probably maybe want to change at times, and it is ongoing. So you are constantly working on it. I have to say the last few months has been a little bit like I just put the brake on a little bit, give myself a bit of time because of what's been happening. And I think that's probably for myself, and obviously having just recovered from my operation. So yeah, it's kind of been twofold, but yeah, it's going to be kicking off. It's already starting. Yeah. You know, I've already had, I think in the last couple of days, I think 5 orders have come in. So orders are coming in again. You know, the one is a mother last night, I messaged to say, look, I'm not going out very often, blah, blah, blah. How urgent is it? It's her daughter's birthday in February, and she's not getting married till May, so no rush. And I said, it'll be out for her birthday. So it's kind of, you know, I'm just talking to everybody and making sure, but obviously now I can feel it coming. Maybe with the next lockdown that we're about to get, because I think they're going to make it really strict. Yeah. I think people are going to really put the brakes on, and then I don't expect many orders to come in. But
I think
it's,
the thing is, though, these brides still want to get married. These couples want to get married. So at some point they are going to happen. It's just, it's that unknown, isn't it, of knowing exactly when.
They've got to think about certain things on the day. They have to have a photographer for the day, the venue on the day, the food on the day. Those are the critical things.
Yeah.
The other things are coming in afterwards. The dress, the jewellery, you know, all of those bits, the invites, they're not like deadlines for that day. They've all got to be done bit by bit, so they can be planning. Yeah. So yeah, they can't look at a venue at the moment. Yeah. They can only make a phone call. Yeah. So yeah, I think the ones that have just got engaged now, they're definitely going to have to slow down probably a little bit. And I would think, I haven't really picked up on it, but I would suspect that most of them are not going to get married till next year or the year after. Yeah, the ones that are coming in this year are the ones that are probably already cancelled from last year or had already planned to get married this year. And so they're the ones that are struggling.
Well, ultimately, sadly. I mean, venues we know are struggling out there. So there's potentially venues that are closing as well. You're going to end up with all these brides if we're not careful. Suddenly there's going to be a bottleneck, isn't there?
Yeah.
Of availability. I wonder if there's going to be more Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday weddings than ever before. Yeah, they push and catch up.
They could be. And I know there's quite a few that got married that said they're going to have the big party later on in the year. So who knows?
Who knows? We don't know. But
I think we've just got to go with the flow.
You're not being negative about that. You're going, everybody's in the same boat. Yeah. Let's do what we can do to support the brides, because it's them, it's their day. They still want to have great memories from this. They don't want to.
Absolutely.
And that's your priority. And I love that. Absolutely love that. Okay, so last question.
Okay.
If you could, one tip for someone who is starting out planning their own handmade business or a wedding business, what would it be?
Oh, one tip. I would say prepare for the amount of hours that you're going to put into it, because you have to do a lot of research, a heck of a lot of hours. I mean, at night, even in the evenings, if I wasn't sitting at a desk, just sourcing stuff, what have you, it is really tough at the beginning. And you've got to think the first 2 or 3 years that you've got to put, because one business doesn't just take, I was always told a business can take around 2 years to get off the ground. Yeah. And that was actually right when I think back and I was told that right at the very beginning, when I first, within the first 6 months, and I was sort of thinking, oh, I could be doing this. And then somebody had said to me, who was kind of right in another business, said, no, anything like that will take 2 years. And they were right. And I think it's very true. So
I think it takes that good couple of years to really find your feet and what you want to do in your business as well. At that point, it's still all up in the air, and it's combining that and doing that at the same time as getting out and being visible. So
it's evolving as well.
I think a business constantly evolving.
Yeah,
I think a
totally.
business is always a work in progress, because you've got to
Yeah.
adapt to things like this now. Just with COVID hitting, so many businesses have to
Absolutely.
adapt.
I have to say, at the beginning, when I first started, you obviously, you know, you look at what other people are doing, and a lot of them are not existing now. So yeah, quite a number.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do go in with good ideas, and then they're often,
you need the right character. Quite often you need to be able to just keep going. Sometimes, especially now, you have to have that keep going. Oh
yeah, definitely. I think the mental attitude towards it is paramount. And if you're kind of like, oh, I've had enough this day, this is just really boring me, it's like, it's part of it, you've got to do it.
Yeah,
it's persistence.
it is. It's persistence. I'm glad you've persisted, because you have a fantastic business, and I know you get phenomenal testimonials and feedback from your brides, and you wouldn't get the photos back from your brides either if you didn't have that relationship with them and help them have an amazing day, and you're part of it. So thank you.
Thank you.